In this video, I'm going to show you 3 reasons why you should be using a flash meter right now. Hey everyone, my name is Cassie Reynolds. Welcome back to the channel. So we're going to be talking about flash meters. Is it worth it? If you've never used one, what the hell are they? What do they do? Up until 6 months ago, I wasn't even using a flash meter, but now I use it all the time. It never leaves the house without me. It never leaves the house without me? I guess that works. So we're going to go over my 3 reasons why you should use a flash meter and learn a little bit how to use it along the way. Starting with number 1, let's start with the obvious. It nails your exposure every single time a lot more accurately than your in-camera meter. If, like me, you do a lot of off-camera flash or you like to work with flash in your home studio, like I did here in this shoot recently with my friend Joe, then you're going to need one of these because it's just so much easier at nailing that exposure. And the way it works, you dial in your shutter speed, you dial in your ISO. So for example, in the first setup, I set my shutter speed to 1/160th of a second, and I set my ISO to 200. So I just press the button on the side here, I press that, and now the meter is armed for 30 seconds. It's now waiting for a flash, and when a flash fires, it will give you an aperture. It will tell you what the aperture you need to put your camera at to get that correct exposure. So the flash meter was giving me a reading of f8. So I changed my camera from 5.6, I dialed the aperture to f8, and then when I took that shot, it was absolutely perfect. The exposure was spot on. It wasn't too bright and it wasn't too dark. I didn't need to fiddle with the flash settings. I didn't need to fiddle with my aperture. So there's no awkwardness there. You're not kind of messing around. Oh, sorry, it's a bit too bright. Hang on, let me just, oh, now it's a bit dark. You're not trying to figure it out because now you're worrying about the flash. You've stopped talking to your model. They're wondering what the hell's going on. They're kind of feeling a bit uncomfortable. They're like, oh, is this going bad? Is it me? So that's why I like to use a flash. It's so much quicker, and also I'm not going to take any underexposed or overexposed shots. So in post-production, that makes my work line so much quicker. I don't need to worry about filtering through shots that are too dark, too bright. And so that's going to make my job in the post-production a lot easier and a lot quicker. So that is really important for me. If you're going to use your flash meter for anything, then you want to use it if you're using film, whether that's 35mm or 120mm, which is what I was using here with my Hasselblad. Obviously, I don't have the luxury of going through loads of film, unlike with digital where I can just delete it. I've got to nail it because I don't want to be wasting my film. So that's why, again, using a flash meter is great. And I think I was metering at around f9 for this. Tip number 2 is it's great for balancing out multiple lights. Now this, for me, is even more important that you use a flash meter when you're using multiple lights. So let's say, for example, you've taken a photo with your key light here and you have also a backlight here. Now let's just say that the key light was slightly overexposed, but that's okay because you know what? You can just bring it down in Photoshop a little bit. But let's just say your backlight was really bright, like a lot brighter than your key light, and that, you know, if you wanted to correct that, you'd need to really bring that down. But you can't do that because if you bring it down so that the backlight looks great, then that means your key light will be too dark, won't it? So that's where you can't really get away with it in post-production, because if you are using multiple lights and those lights are not dialed in correctly, then that's where you're going to face problems and you're not going to be able to get away with it in post. So now I use a flash meter so that I can balance it out. Let's just say your key light, you've metered, you've hit the button, it says f8, you dialed in f8 on your camera, and then over here you click that. As long as that's not over f8, then you're absolutely fine. Now, as a good rule of thumb, I like to have my backlight the same or lower than my key light. So again, let's just say my key light is at f8, then that means I want my backlight to be either f8 or underneath. So if it's 7.1 or 6.3, I'm okay with that. So look at this example here. I've put the new modifier on and it's now giving me a reading of f4, but I need to get to f8. If you're thinking, well, okay, well, how many clicks is f4 to f8? So have a look at this sheet here by my friend Gavin Hoey, and you can see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clicks away. So I go back to my trigger and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do another reading, and voila, we're now at F8. So that is how you go from F4 to F8. So 3 clicks equals 1 stop. So we had to go 2 stops because it was 6 clicks. If you want to go and check that out, then I'll leave the link in the description below. Print it out. If you get one of these, then print it out. I didn't even say what I was using. This is the L308-S, by the way. So if you want to go and check that out, and maybe print that out, so when you're doing a shoot, maybe just have it there as a guide if you're starting out, because you might know that, well, I know that F4 lets in more light than F8, but exactly how many increments by do you know? So this worksheet's a great way of learning that. So back to the shoot, my backlight was about F6.3, so as long as it was under F8, then I was fine. I think it was between 6.3 and 7.1. For my fill light, now this is a little bit different. Because this fill light is attached to my camera as a ring flash, I don't really do a meter reading for my ring flash. I just kind of figure out, because I'm constantly moving, I would just always have to keep doing this. So when it comes to this particular ring flash, then I just kind of dial it in manually, and as long as it's not too bright, then I know it's okay, as long as it's not overpowering. If I did have another light on a stand, then yes, I would do the meter reading, so make sure it wasn't too bright. So tip number 3, last tip, is it's great when you're working with your models, or if you're tethering with your models as well. So you can see here in this example, at the end of the shoot or during the middle of the shoot, Joe is able to come up, have a look at the photos, see how they're looking, and because I'm using a flash meter, she's not seeing any photos that were too dark or too bright. And if you want to learn more about tethering, then if you just click the link up there, and you'll learn 5 reasons why you should be tethering and why it's good to tether. But it's also good, as I say, when you're working with your model, because you can dial in the exposure, get straight to the shoot. Don't worry about if it's too bright or too dark. You know that it's going to be right, which frees you up to talk to your model and engage with them and get a rapport so that you can get the best shot out of them. Well, that's about it from me. Thank you ever so much for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, then please make sure you hit that little like or share button, and don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you like my videos, then don't forget that little bell icon so you keep notified every time I upload a new video. That's about it from me. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.